Welcome to the Fit 40 podcast, where we take all the confusing, conflicting fitness and nutrition information and break it down so that you can live your healthiest, strongest, most energized life. I'm your host, Brian Fitzsimmons. Let's get it started. Welcome. What's up? What's up, everybody? I can't go too fast. I got to slow it down. Hope everybody's having an amazing week so far. Filming this on a Tuesday, so hopefully getting this out next Monday, and it'll be just in time so you still have a few weeks, because today's lesson is going to be how to set yourself up for an incredible New Year's resolution by taking these little tiny steps that really don't make a huge difference or not a huge difference. It's not a huge commitment to get these done. Like, they're really simple things that a lot of people just like put on the back burner. They don't really pay too much attention to, and you can do them with relative ease. And when January hits, you're going to be in such a better place physically, mentally, spiritually, who knows? And that'll make the whole process easier. These are the things that, like, if we were to do a true periodized program with nutrition, this would be the stuff that you get when you're getting, like, you're revving up your metabolism, or you're like doing a reverse diet, or you're just working on optimizing your hormones and things like that. So without further ado, let's jump in. One of the easiest things that we can do when it comes to the food side of things is work on including things in whatever we eat, like adding things and adding good things. This kind of gets into the whole discussion of, like, don't like go into a diet thinking about everything that you're giving up. Start by adding good stuff in, because that's mentally so much easier, so much, like, it doesn't feel like you're depriving yourself. It's just, I'm giving myself more good stuff. So that being said, one thing is hand portions. Now, I wouldn't say do all of these at once, because it is hard to master right off the bat. So anybody who's not familiar with the hand portions, these were made popular by Precision Nutrition, which is the cert that I currently have that taught me all the nutrition stuff that I preach to you guys. And the hand portion thing is awesome because everybody's got their hand for the most part. And you can use it wherever you're at, whether you're out to dinner with friends and family, or you're like ordering in for lunch or whatever. You still have that hand. So the way it goes is your palm is a portion of protein. Your fist is a portion of vegetables. Your thumb, like the outline of it, is a portion of fats. And then a cupped hand. This is the hardest one to do on camera. A cupped hand is how many carbohydrates you should be consuming. However, and that's cooked. So if you have like some cooked rice, you're holding it in your hand. Or if you have like cooked potatoes or something, you can hold it all in your hand. I'm not saying to literally do that because it can get messy, but when you're eyeballing it, it definitely helps. And the easy way to do it is like male to female. If you're a man, you get 2 portions of everything. If you're a woman, you get 1 portion of everything. But I like to go by like 150 pounds because, like, when it comes to nutrition, body weight and composition are usually a better guide. So around like 150 is the breaking point. So if you're under 150, I would say get 1 portion of everything. If you're over 150, I would say get 2 portions of everything. So that being said, what order should you do them in? Well, when it comes to the order of things, you want to start with protein, because protein is usually the one that most of us like to eat more so than the others. It's easy to get in at every single meal, and it's usually about a palm size anyway, because a palm size is about 4 to 6 ounces depending on the size of your hand. So pretty easy, get that done. If that's the first spot that you're starting at, like you don't do this already, just start with the palm for like 2-3 weeks or whatever. You could do it all the way up until January 1st, and that could be your only focus, and you could see incredible results and feel a lot better and get a lot of energy, because protein really makes it hard to overeat because it sits in your gut, it takes forever to digest, and it's going to provide you with that slow, sustained energy throughout the day. So I'd say go protein first. Second on the list would be vegetables. Get that fist of veggies at least. Okay, now this, like, if you're eating a salad of any size, pretty much, you've got that knocked out. But if you have like peas and carrots, or like, I don't know, peppers and onions, like get like a fist size. Or if you just want to like have like a little side salad in addition to whatever you're eating, boom, that checks it right off the list. And with veggies, you don't have to stop at a fist. You can really have as many as your heart desires. When it comes to what's next, I would say is fats. Like fats and carbs, kind of, you could pick either one because we all gravitate towards one. I would pick the opposite of what you normally gravitate towards. So me being in the traditional bodybuilding space for so long, going carb heavy, I don't really put a heavy emphasis on healthy fats because like if you're working with a calorie budget, you want as many carbohydrates as you can get with as little fats as possible without causing negative effects, like when you're trying to bodybuild and put on as much muscle as possible. So the cap for fats was about like 20%. So that's like nothing. But if we're talking about setting good habits and healthy habits and checking off all of our boxes, I should probably go fat first. So a thumb size, like an outline. Now, this can be extremely frustrating, especially for like if we're doing like nuts, like doing whatever fits in the outline of your thumb can be really, really annoying. So if it's nuts, I would say like a pack or half a pack of those 100-calorie packs would be good. But like if we're doing like olive oil and you're cooking stuff in olive oil, try and make a thumb of olive oil in the pan. Or if you're going to be doing a salad, like a dressing or something like that, that has an oil base, then yeah, try and get about like what your thumb would be for that. And then those are usually like the big fats, like avocado. You could do like a thumb's worth, which is like about a tablespoon, maybe two, depending if you're like got a big ass thumb. And yeah, and then when it comes to carbs, which would be your last or second to last, that cupped hand. Like I said, if you can like hold this much rice, potatoes, any other thing that falls into the category of a carbohydrate, I would put beans in this one too, because as much protein that beans have, I wouldn't consider it a lean protein source for that reason. It's carbs and protein. So whatever you can fit in that cupped hand is ideal. And if you want to like step it up a notch, you can make sure that those carbs are complex carbs. So they've got fiber in them, they've got whole grains, they got a nice little spectrum of micronutrients, the quote unquote healthy carbs. And yeah, just pick whatever you're at on that list. Like say you already do protein at every single meal. This is for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then focus on the next thing, focus on the veggies. And let's say you do both of those, then you work it like a priority list. And just pick one focus, nail it, and do that until January 1st. Now, second thing, like let's say your nutrition's pretty on point or you just don't really want to focus on it right now. Totally fine. The next thing is steps. And steps, I would say when we're talking about getting them in, I'm a big fan of not putting all of those steps or half of them into one gigantic walk. It really is better to break it up throughout the day with really solid habits that add steps on. So if you have like a watch or something or a pedometer or something that can count your steps, everybody's phone for the most part can give you a ballpark of how many steps you're taking. So doing simple things like parking a little bit further away at work or when you're going for the groceries, taking the stairs, doing things like going for periodic walks during the day that are like not long walks, like 5-10 minutes, like around meals especially. So once you finish a meal, go for like a 5-10 minute walk. Not only are you adding steps on, but it's actually really good for digestion too. So you're killing two birds with one stone. And then if you're at that point at the end of the day where you still got to knock out like a couple thousand steps, you could go for a longer walk. And if it's cold out, you could do your walk at the mall or inside, like do laps around your apartment or whatever. And when it comes to how many, the golden rule that I tell all my clients, which is actually based on the recommendations, is at least 5,000 steps. That's like the very bottom end before you're considered low activity. So that first that threshold starts right at 5,000 steps. And the goal being that when you crush that 5,000 steps, you're going to feel like, oh, I can do so much more. And then you go for more. But the goal is to set that at a good level where it's like, okay, I can hit 5,000 every single day, even on the bad ones. And on the good days, I'll go for more. So steps is number 2. And last but not least, number 3 is sleep. Now, this is the one that everybody struggles with across the board. everybody really struggles with sleep. And for the most part, there are things that we can control, that we can improve our sleep environment, we can improve our sleep quality usually. But if it's like a hormonal issue that is untreated or not addressed by your doctor, that's going to be a big deal. If you have something like sleep apnea, it could be worth going to see your doctor, getting a sleep study, maybe even getting a CPAP if that's necessary. So I would say first and foremost, go see the doctor, make sure that like those things that you can potentially improve with either a machine or like some sort of medication, check those off first and then see where to go from there. And then let's say you do that, or you're not really having that much trouble with your sleep, and you want to improve it. Like, it's good, but it can be better. That's where this comes in, because now it's darker more of the day. It's great to rack up on the sleep. So when it comes to setting up your environment, that's like the big thing. And the first and like most important thing I would say is temperature. I know me personally, if it's 1 degree too hot, I'm tossing and turning all night long. And I've had clients too where it's like, it's just not something they really paid attention to, but then they dialed it down into like the high 60s, mid 60s, and they're like, oh my God, I slept like a baby. And it's like, it does make a big difference. After we've addressed the temperature, next is blacking out the room. Now, when I say black out the room, that doesn't just mean shut the lights off and don't have a nightlight, because one, we're adults. We should not have a nightlight right now. We should be past that point. Two, if you have the TV on, like I know I have an aunt, and I hope she's watching this because she always falls asleep with the television on. Now, if that is your thing, it is a tough habit to break, but you don't have to go cold turkey. You can keep some sort of noise on, like with some sleep sounds or things like that. The key is to get the visual, like whatever is catching your eye with the blue light, out of the equation. So that could be things like the television. It could be things like little dots on like the television or your alarm clock or the fire alarm, like things like that, where there's that little bead of light, and you're just, every time you wake up, because it is 100% normal to wake up throughout the night. It's just part of the sleep cycle where you wake up for like a brief second and then you fall right back asleep. But if when you're waking up for that brief second, you catch that little bit of light, it's going to wake you up more. And they've actually done studies where they'll have people laying down and falling asleep, and one person they don't do anything to, and the other person, they have like one of those like red lights, and they just put it on their leg, not even in their eye, like on their leg for a little bit. And that little bit, just making contact with the skin, made a difference in their sleep quality when they measured it afterwards. So even the little tiniest light can make a difference. The best way to go about that is invest in some electrical tape. It's like that old saying goes, silence is golden, but duct tape is silver. If you get like some black electric tape and cut it up into little pieces, like we don't want to, like for example, like the fire alarm, we don't want to block the functionality of that, because that is, like, I'm a former firefighter. I will not tell you to put duct tape or electrical tape over your fire alarm. But if you can cut like a really tiny little circle just to get that little light out of the way, great. I would say pull it off as soon as you're awake, just to make sure battery's still good and all that. But that being said, same thing with the television. Get a little piece of tape, put it right on the light, and keep doing that. Like if there's a charger or something, unplug the charger or put a little piece of tape on it. It will make a world of difference. Another thing is, if you can, getting rid of any loud sounds or anything like that. So, I mean, the sleep sounds are great as long as they're peaceful and stuff, but let's say you live in a city or something, investing in a pair of earbuds can go a very, very long way. Another thing, while I'm thinking of it, back to blacking out the room. Sometimes we're not in control of that. Like sometimes we have a partner that, like, say they need that CPAP machine and it's like lighting up the room and it's really loud. Like, it is what it is. What you can do instead, or if you're traveling, is a sleep mask, like one of those sleep masks that go across your face. Even the ones with those little bit of pressure, like on the eyeballs and the padding, they can do an incredible job at blacking out your line of vision. So that's one way to do it too. Just find a comfortable one. So, the one I had before was really uncomfortable, but you look like a diva and you sleep in like a baby. So yeah. So we got that. We got the temperature. We got the blackout the room. We got the I'm losing my place here. We got the blackout the room, temperature, sound, and the other thing, and this is the one that I know everybody's going to be like, ugh. And some of you might be doing it right now, watching your phone in bed or watching television in bed. It can really, really help by increasing the amount of time between bed and looking at the phone. So I'm not going to tell you, all right, if you look at your phone right now, tomorrow I want you to put it down an hour and a half before bed and then 2 hours, 3 hours. No, we're not going to start there. Just start 10 minutes. 10 minutes before bed, put it away. Then once you get comfortable with that, do it for 20 minutes before bed, then 30 minutes before bed, and work it up and see what you can handle. And even the little increments go a long way. And that should make a big, big difference. Almost forgot. Next one is exercise. When it comes to sleeping, people are like really confused when it's like, I'm so stressed all day. I feel so tired. And then I get home and I can't sleep. And that's because there's different types of tired. A lot of us are wired and tired. We're hooked on caffeine or any other stimulants just to get us through the day. We get home and let's say you got kids or a spouse and they're driving you nuts. Your emotions are completely drained and you hop in bed and you're just staring at the ceiling. Well, that's because you mentally have had a whole lot of stress, but physically not so much. Your body needs a reason to be tired. Like doing a 20-30 minute workout or something like that, or getting a lot of steps in, like that 10 to 15K mark, can make a huge difference. I keep saying a big difference, but it does. And the very final thing that a lot of people do not do is get some sunlight, especially first thing in the morning. If you can get your body out and feeling the sun on your skin, earlier the better. Your body is now going to improve the rhythm of your circadian rhythm. So it's going to get you in that zone of like, I'm awake for the day. And then just that little bit of sunlight, that little bit of exposure for like 10, 15 minutes can make it that a lot easier to fall asleep later in the day. Because if all you're getting is the lights in your apartment, then you're driving to work in the dark, you're in an office all day with the lights, those like bright white lights, and when you leave, it's dark and you go into your car and you go home and you haven't seen sunlight at all. Maybe you looked out your window at some point during work. That is a gigantic issue when it comes to like how your body likes to be in the rhythm of things. So if you can get outside like 5, 10, 15 minutes throughout the day, whether that's during lunch or you have some sort of a client call that you can take on a walk, or you have some sort of a break in the day where you can get outside, highly recommend getting that sunlight in. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up sleep. And those are my big 3 things. So if you can do just one of the things that I talked about, you will feel a difference. It will make an incredible impact on your day, on your life really, and on that January 1st start date, because you're coming in with momentum already. You're not just saying, okay, I haven't done anything. We're going to do it all at once right now. Here we go, because that never ever works. So let's build some momentum going into January 1st, and then we're going to crush 2023. Hope you found this helpful. And if you did, make sure to share it with a friend, because we know they can use this too. Until next time, go kick some ass. I'll see you next Thursday. Yeah, I'll see you then. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode and you're a new listener, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss another episode. And if you're a returning listener, I would love your feedback. If you could take 2 seconds to just leave a quick review on iTunes or Spotify and rate the show, that would be greatly appreciated. So thank you in advance and have a great rest of your week.